I feel like someone could make a calendar and using his public social media activity, map out all of Kanye West's manic highs and manic lows associated with his bipolar disorder. It is actually kind of comedic in a way, but even more sad. You see, it's very clear that we're on maybe like day 5 of Kanye's most recent bipolar episode, and he's only been getting crazier. A few days ago, I covered his desperate pleas for Donald Trump to pardon Sean Diddy Combs, aka Diddy. Just Diddy, but I do like to call him Sean because he gets really mad apparently when people who aren't his like close friends or family call him Sean and not Diddy, which I think it's very funny because it's like a personal insult to him. But after all the insane shit, including sexual exploitation of minors and I think even trafficking and coercion and grooming that Diddy was exposed for, along with the ownership of just an insane amount of baby oil and lube. I think it was 100, like I think it was like 10,000 gallons or something. It was like a ridiculous amount of lube. Like no individual could use that much lube like in their lives, no matter how much they're fucking. Like it was an absurd amount. It was like it would be more believable, honestly, if he came out to say the reason he had all that lube was as a practical joke. Like that, because I don't believe he could need that much. Like it's actually kind of insane. But regardless, Diddy is currently being prosecuted as very prominent but still a predator, and the world is very much against him. The evidence is against him. Everyone seems to be leaning pretty heavy on Diddy being a predator, right? And so Kanye decides to go on this rant about how Donald Trump needs to pardon him, and then follows that up once the media's attention is on him with just spamming about how much he hates the Jews, how he wants them genocided. He's just going full on Nazi rants. But yesterday, during the Super Bowl, he took out an ad for his Yeezy brand. It is a brand of merch that he owns, and he took everything off of the Yeezy store the night of the Super Bowl. So when people would go to his merch store when the ad went up, there would only be one single product up for sale. A white t-shirt. Well, it looks like I gotta get rid of my webcam for you guys to see it. A white t-shirt with a... Where's my webcam? There we go. A white t-shirt with a swastika on it. Just straight up. Just straight up a white t-shirt with a swastika on it. As one of the most expensive advertisements sold at the Super Bowl. Yeah. There's a lot to catch up on here, as you can see. He's kind of gone insane with his stunts now. We're at the point... And mind you, like, Kanye is very tight with Elon and Trump. So we're just kind of watching as the prominent Nazis start to drop the mask more and more. These are the people who control our country now.
After Kanye West's bizarre Super Bowl commercial promoting his clothing website Yeezy.com, the front page...
Yeah, and the Super Bowl commercial itself is literally him at the dentist, seemingly. And I'm going to be honest, after finding out that he supposedly gets supplied with nitrous by his dentist, I think he might have just been getting, like, high as fuck off of nitrous from his dentist he's paying to give it to him, and just quickly recorded the advertisement on his phone and then paid, like, $1 billion or whatever for it to be, like, shown at the Super Bowl as an ad.
Super Bowl commercial promoting his clothing website Yeezy.com, the front page of the website now sells one single shirt. This.
Yeah, and the shirt's called HH-01. Any guesses on what the HH stands for? Any guesses?
a t-shirt with a swastika. And yes, this is real. Well, YouTuber and podcaster Ruslan is here to help us break this down. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, what's up, Raj? Thanks for having me, brother.
Well, thanks for coming on, man. I don't even know where to start. What was your initial reaction?
I wasn't surprised, and here's why.
Neither
This
am
is
I.
the first time Kanye has done this, unfortunately. A couple years ago, he tried to redeem and repurpose the Dixie flag on his apparel. And so people could look this up. There was multiple videos of him up with a Dixie flag shirt on and like trying to take the Confederate imagery that's usually been associated with not so good things, right? And trying to redeem it. So this is on a whole nother level. And so I'm not surprised. I know he has an album coming out, so he's probably trying to get attention. He's not in a good place at all with his faith. And so this is actually not surprising to me.
So do you think this is just shock jock, or do you think that this is him losing his mind, or is this just pure anti-Semitism?
I think it's all the above. I think it's partly shock jock. I think we have seen him be diagnosed allegedly.
He's also mentally ill, and I when someone like Kanye has built a space of constant yes men, because he's a lot like Trump, where he's probably cut off everyone in his life who isn't a yes man, who does exactly what he says. He's got all this money and power and success. When he asks or says he's going to do something, everyone lets him do it. I think he's just legitimately spiraling mentally, and nobody in his life can stop him. No one in his life is willing to stop him. He's cut everyone off who might be willing to or able to or might consider doing so. He won't let them. He's too powerful and successful of a person to be wrangled.
With bipolar, he was treated for years for bipolar with medication, and then recently has came out and said that it was actually a misdiagnosis, and now he has a diagnosis of autism. So I'm sure if someone has
he's trying to claim that he doesn't have bipolar disorder and he's just autistic. And then he tried to claim in the same tweet that the type of autism he has is like the Rain Man. He literally says the Rain Man autism, meaning he's trying to claim that he is an autistic savant. It's literally like the South Park episode where he's like, I'm a genius. He's literally trying to claim he's a genius. I'm not mentally ill, I'm a genius.
autism and is given bipolar medication for years or maybe even half a decade, probably not going to do great on their brain chemistry. I'm no expert in that. And then I think there's a lot of anti-Semitism that's brewing on the internet. There's a lot of conspiratorial stuff and the war in Gaza and people reacting to that and the narratives around that from both sides, the far right and the far.
Legitimately, Mikey BME, he's not on Earth right now. He's like on Mars.
Far left in terms of how they're navigating that conversation. And so I think it's all the above. I think it's everything that you just mentioned.
You know, a lot of us are just so sad because I feel like a few years ago we were like, oh my gosh, Kanye got saved and Kanye's making this really incredible Christian music. And we're all like, this is amazing, praise God. And then to go from that to this, and as you know, someone who's done lots of, you know,
okay, anybody who was paying attention knew when he started doing the super Christian stuff, that was the beginning of the end. Okay, come on. When he started doing the hardcore Christian shit, that's when you knew that shit was starting to. That was when the road to this. Well, I'd actually argue the road to this started with "I'm gonna let you finish," but we'll say that was the start of this road. The Christian obsessed, like the Christian music shit, like. That was probably where it started.
Pop stuff in his day. What is your thought as like to see this fall from, you know, people kind of excited to see where he was going to, you are creating a t-shirt with a swastika. How did that happen so fast?
Well, it happened gradually. Unfortunately, we saw what I would say is a genuine zeal for God in the late 2018 through 2019. I saw him early 2020 in person. Last time I saw him in person at a event in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, of all places. He did a massive concert with the Sunday service group. And then what happened was right after that, there was the lockdowns that happened, which I don't think were good for him because his outlet, his community, the pastors that he was around.
We're going to see over the next 5 to 10 years, I think that those COVID lockdowns and just COVID in general fucked a lot of people really bad, like mentally, especially the kids. I think that like there's going to be a very big mass realization of how much like a good couple years worth of kids got fucked up by missing out on some fundamental socialization for in those like formative years.
Were around him. So not just people think it's like, oh, he was close to the Joel Osteens and the celebrity. He was close to a guy named Pastor Adam Tyson, which comes from John MacArthur's Master Seminary. People can look up Pastor Adam Tyson and get a feel for who he is. This wasn't a guy that watered down the gospel. This wasn't a guy that
This
just
is a
pacified
Christian
Kanye.
channel, by the way. This is a Christian channel, and they're calling out Kanye's insanity.
Challenge Kanye. And so I think what happened was the pandemic happened. Everyone's locked down. He has no community, or has less community than he's used to. He can't do his Sunday service thing. Then he gets this idea of running for president. That didn't go very well. And in the midst of that, he ends up losing his marriage. And he was really praying and believing that God would restore his marriage. He was at one point very anti-porn. He was very pro-modesty. There was a whole window of time where his wife at the time, Kim Kardashian, was like dressing different and covering up. And this was because of Kanye. And there was a time where they did an album and he told everybody they couldn't fornicate and couldn't be sexually immoral while working on his album. This is post Jesus is King. So I think what happened was it's the death by a thousand cuts. You get isolated, you get alone, some things in your personal life, some prayers don't get answered the way you wish they got answered, and you're not treating your mental health properly.
Dude, everybody is like, it's crazy because Kanye's so mentally ill, and he's tied himself so tightly to all these prominent like conservative people. Now, like even the Christian community is like calling him out for this blatant insanity. You know, like there's really, it feels like what he's trying to do is just continuously test how crazy and blatantly Nazi he can be, and still have people who are not Nazis defend it. Like, it feels like he gets his rocks off almost, like, just posting a bunch of swastikas, people saying, dude, he's a Nazi, and for people to say, who are not Nazis, mind you, to say, no, he's not, no, he's not. He clearly, like, he wants to see how much he can trigger lefties by being so blatantly a Nazi on purpose, and people who are blatantly not Nazis, clearly not Nazis, to still defend it as him not being a Nazi. I almost feel like he's just trying to outdo himself every time and see how much people are willing to defend it and how much those defending it make those that are upset by it upset, you know?
Probably because of perhaps that misdiagnosis that he had with bipolar. He really has autism. So I think it's just a whirlwind, and it's not to,
I don't believe that.
To justify.
I don't believe that he actually has autism instead of bipolar. He don't take his word for it. Okay, he's not. He claimed this a few days ago as a little island of not like Nazi shit, surrounded by him tweeting swastikas and slurs, and then this. You know, I don't take that claim very seriously from him.
What he's doing, because what he's doing is not justifiable, but I do think it brings a bit more context in terms of what happened over the past several years.
Well, you and I have been to Israel together, and obviously you know my heart for standing against anti-Semitism. So where do you think the line is? Do you think it's, hey, this guy's obviously there's a lot of factors going on, let's just kind of ignore him, he's dealing with a lie, he's kind of lost his mind, versus, dude, this is like horrifically anti-Semitic, as someone who's like been to Auschwitz and Majdanek, and it's personal for me. And so when I see someone with this kind of platform who used it on a Super Bowl commercial to draw attention to this, I don't know what to do. Like, should I, for the person watching this, should they be outraged? Should they be like livid? Or should it's like, okay, the more attention we give this, the worse it becomes? What should people at home do with the front page of Yeezy.com?
I would lean more towards the latter. I would lean that the more attention and the more outrage we give it, the more he wins and the more this behavior is enabled. And I know it's impossible to say, well, just ignore.
In a way, I agree. I think this guy's actually got a point. Like, he wants attention. But at the same time, people like this put you into impossible situations. like in a broad cultural level and on personal level. Like if you've ever dealt with someone that's like Kanye on a personal level, you know that they put you in impossible situations where there is no real perfectly right answer on how to deal with them. And so with Kanye, on one hand I see where he's coming from, where cutting off the attention this guy thrives on that's fueling this behavior like logically makes sense, right? But then experientially, you see that when you allow someone who is undeniably so influential, who has such a massive platform and so many loyal, decades long fans, because Kanye's been famous for decades, keep that in mind. It's really hard to say we should just ignore him and not call this out. It's like, no, one of the world's most influential people is doing everything he can to make us think he's a Nazi and is trying to make his fans defend that he is a Nazi for fun, from what I can tell. I don't know if this is something we should ignore, right? Like, I mean, granted, Christian, maybe because he's a Christian, like, turn the other cheek, that philosophy and everything, but, like, I don't know, even from a Christian perspective, if any Christians want to tell me, isn't it considered somewhat disvirtuous to not step in and call out bad behavior, hurtful behavior, hateful behavior when you see it? I don't know. I feel like there's almost a moral imperative to call this kind of stuff out, surely on principle, if nothing else.
Ignore Ye, but Ye is one of the biggest artists in the world, right? But I really think a lot of what he's doing now is to get attention for whatever it is he has going on, drive people to his store, drive people to his music. And again, it doesn't make it excusable, but I think unfortunately we're dealing with someone that's probably in the middle of a psychotic break, or has already had a psychotic break, or is under severe like demonic oppression. And the way out of this is...
Okay, I'm not gonna lie, actually. As insane as that sounds, if I were to believe anybody has demons haunting them and driving them mad, it would be Kanye. Can we all agree? I don't believe in demons. But if there were demons, they would be possessing Kanye West. Like, we all agree on that, right? Fair? Yeah, like for sure. Also, correct me if I'm wrong, demons are like a really abstract concept in like the Bible, right? Like there are some like separate like books and mythologies where like demons are considered like a really like physical thing, you know, something more like what you see in a horror movie, like Hereditary type thing, you know. But generally, at least from my understanding of the Bible, demons are considered more of like a spiritual threat to your purity and your soul and whatnot, you know, like in the Bible, as far as I'm aware, the effect that demons have on people is not too far off from how Kanye is acting, funnily enough. So I can kind of I can vibe with that explanation. Yep, Kanye has demons.
Going to be... he's either going to self-implode and it's going to get worse, or he will have to do a lot of work and perhaps go to Israel and perhaps educate himself on the history of the Holocaust and Israel as a nation, and get a better grasp of the Jewish zeitgeist and why they are successful in some regards, right? And understanding the culture, as you and I did when we went to Israel. When you immerse yourself, you go, oh, okay, this all makes sense. This all clicks. And yes, they do have a right to defend themselves. And yes, they have been brutalized. And that is why they react the way they react sometimes, right? And so I think that's the process. And I don't know if he's in the place to do that. I think he's probably going to have to hit rock bottom. And that's scary for him, who's someone that is worth $1 billion again, apparently. I don't know what this looks like, but I'm conflicted on if giving him more attention is good for him or good for the culture, because there is a certain degree of the population right now that is anti-Semitic, and they're going to champion him and buy that merch, and you might see that stuff out in public, which is just going to make it very weird and uncomfortable.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
It's like This is an example, I think, of the paradox of tolerance at work. And, you know, I'm not like a Christian. I'm not a fan of this channel, but it's just what came up. And they seem like they've got a somewhat reasonable take on this. They don't seem insane. But, you know, I don't know what the rest of their work is, so this is not an endorsement of them. But one thing I will say is this makes me think a lot of the paradox of tolerance. And I actually have a very good example of what the paradox of tolerance looks like. There is a creator. There is a brand of content creation online, in fact. This actually has very little to do with politics necessarily. When I'm making... Because I want to give an example of the paradox of tolerance that doesn't evoke people's political disagreement, okay? I just want to give an example. I think that most people, regardless of where they stand politically, will agree, okay, yeah, this paradox of tolerance concept is real, right? So most people online these days have likely heard of the American YouTuber Johnny Somali. He is part of the nuisance YouTuber community. Nuisance YouTubers being figures who go to generally other countries but can just kind of go around their own town if they please and just fuck with people. Like IRL trolling. Like they'll do things like walk by a restaurant with outdoor seating and grab someone's phone and dunk it into their drink and then just run away before the person can do anything about it. And they live stream it or they record it. Usually it's live streamed though, and this has become a really big genre on TikTok, where a lot of like the worst people of the internet seem to convene and find success for some reason. And Johnny Somali is one of those people. And he loves to go to Korea and Japan and primarily Asian countries where the culture tends to be very tolerant and reserved. Everyone minds their own business. If you're doing something that's considered disrespectful, it's unlikely that anyone's gonna like throw hands over it. No one's gonna throw hands with you in these countries more often than not, no matter how much you push it. It's considered very socially barbarous to do so. And people like Johnny Somali take advantage of a tolerant society, and they go there and they push it to its limits, and they just ruin everything. Like, take a look at the news reports about this guy. And this is an example of the paradox of tolerance in action. A society that is so tolerant that someone who actively has only negative attention goes in to take advantage of it, and nothing is gained from it.
The video of an American YouTuber who's been engaging in outrageous acts such as insulting the Statue of Peace and causing disturbances in convenience stores recently went viral online and sparked outrage in South Korea. The YouTuber was eventually booked by the police on Thursday. His name is Johnny Somali, a 24-year-old American man who makes money by uploading controversial actions on his YouTube channel. During his travels in Korea over the past month, Somali uploaded a video of himself kissing the Statue of Peace in Itaewon and performing a lewd dance in front of the monument. He also uploaded a video of himself pouring instant noodles on a convenience store table after an employee stopped him from drinking alcohol. As Somali's utter disrespect for proper behavior continued and criticism...
He does this thing where he'll, like, threaten violence on people, too, because no one from the countries he's in ever stands up to him, because he goes to countries where the culture is so tolerant and laid back and chill and respectful that it's unthinkable to like get violent with someone, even over something that like should the world wants to see this guy get curb stomped. I certainly do. And so like this is an example of this being taken advantage of. You may think like, well, who's in favor of this stuff? How many people are there out there that are like this, who are this awful to just take advantage of people's tolerance for bad behavior? And it's the like hundreds of thousands of people that regularly tune in to watch this guy. His chat moves fast. He makes a lot of money. But like, I don't want Kanye to be the next Johnny Somali. This guy who's just given carte blanche to run around fucking with people and doing awful shit, and everyone's just expected to be tolerant of it and to look the other way and to just let him keep doing it. Because Johnny Somali isn't necessarily doing this for attention. He's doing this to get his rocks off. He goes to a place where people don't fight back. He's like a high school bully who's gone to a kindergarten to fuck with people. It's like I feel like Kanye does the things he does for the same reason Johnny Somali does. He gets off on hate and gets off on the idea that no one can stop him. Anyway, I feel like I've made my point. I feel like I've done it. If you guys enjoyed this segment, if you found it entertaining, enjoyable, or even educational, then please consider leaving a like and a comment. It's totally free to do so, and every single thumbs up and comment you leave on my videos and my streams, are massively helpful, boosting my channel in the algorithm in real time to bring in new people and old viewers alike, so it really, really does help. I really appreciate it. And of course, be sure to subscribe and ring the bell icon if you haven't already, to turn on all notifications so that YouTube actually tells you when I go live or upload new videos, because believe me, if you don't, they won't. And of course, if you want to see more from me on other platforms, you can follow my social medias linked down below in the description, including joining my fan Discord server, the main hub of my community. And finally, if you want to support me directly, financially, help me keep the lights on and a roof above my head here at the Xander Hall studio, then you can do so by donating, subscribing, or gifting a sub on my website. xanderhall.com/live, or you can support me through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, Stream Elements, Patreon, or you can buy some merch through the Streamlabs link down below in the description, as I do have custom Xander Hall merch. It goes hard as fuck. All that said, though, thank you so much for watching, as always, and no matter how you support me, thank you, and I hope to see you again.